Internet piracy is one of the most important issues facing the U.S. government in its relation to the entertainment industry today. The issue began as far back as the early inception of the Internet, or at least the inception of the Internet's early popularity in the 2000s, specifically around 2004, or even farther back, maybe 1999. With the birth of Napster, which was a precursor to software sharing files like LimeWire and CrossWire, the internet already had a problem, specifically with the music industry. The music industry saw that people were pirating music for free using Napster, and the decline in physical media sales hit hard. So, when lawsuits shut Napster down in the 2000s, LimeWire and CrossWire didn't follow suit. And then organizations like Pirate Bay, BitTorrent, and other torrenting file sites grew in their popularity, and in fact remain popular today. Sites like RapidShare, FileShare, and other sites of those natures have either been shut down or are getting shut down, but there's a problem. In late 2011, the Stop Online Piracy Act was introduced to the House of the U.S. government. The Stop Online Piracy Act was intended to protect copyright law and, obviously, stop piracy. However, the problem with the Stop Online Piracy Act was that it would infringe on creation and innovation on the internet and also shut down any domain carrying a site that would be assumed to have been carrying something that was an infringed upon item, either a picture or video, something that they assumed had been obtained illegally. SOPA would also block any website who was suspected of pirating or infringing on copyrights from being searched at all. So Google would have to shut down any searches relating to that particular website. The largest problem with SOPA is the fact that special interest groups and corporations backed it so fervently because they are gaining a large and scary control over the internet. Consider, YouTube used to be entirely free of any advertisements for videos. Now, with Vivo services and other things encroaching upon YouTube, realizing that they can advertise, you can't watch almost any video on that service without having to sit through at least 15 seconds of an advertisement. Free things on the internet are no longer free, or their freeness is dwindling. However, this doesn't mean that piracy is a good thing. It's just that the opponents of piracy are going about it in bad ways. Piracy infringes on creators' rights to make money off of their creations. People should have to pay for their entertainment so long as the creator is adamant about being paid. People like Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails clearly don't care about being paid, or else they wouldn't keep releasing stuff for free. However, most people who work for a living, who work to create for a living, expect to be paid for their work. So, how do we solve this problem? Physical media is still on decline, but according to some statistics, in March of last year, so is piracy. So, how do we solve the piracy problem without preventing people from creating things and being able to make things without fear of corporate groups encroaching on their ability to create, or people encroaching on their ability to be paid to create? Well, it might be foolish to assume that most people will start buying physical media again. But consider this. 2 weekends ago, there was Record Store Day. Now, most people haven't been in a record store in years, or maybe even never nowadays. Record Store Day is when the recording industry gives back a little, or at least independent labels give back a little for the most part by releasing exclusive record store day releases on vinyl and then putting them in independent record stores around the country. Now, independent record stores. So, no Virgin Mobile, no Best Buy, no Target, none of those get things on record store day. Only independent record stores like Repo Records on South Street, Philadelphia, or AKA Music, or places like that. Record stores are assumed to have been dying for the past 10 years, 20 years or so, since CDs were on the rise and vinyl was out. But this brief resurgence in buying vinyl and going into record stores at all has seen an increase in the buying of physical media. Now, it's much more difficult to pirate a vinyl record. It's a lot easier to pirate something that was put on software, like a CD. So, if more people were more inclined to engage with art in terms of physical media, perhaps less piracy would occur, and perhaps there would be less need for the internet to rely on corporations who don't have the internet or their creators' best interest in mind to encroach on piracy and make sure that piracy is defeated. Now, I know most of you, myself included, have pirated things at one time or another. It's pretty much inevitable. There is a famous webcomic, or at least famous in the past few months, showing how HBO's inability to make the first season of Game of Thrones readily available before its very expensive release on Blu-ray and DVD in early March had led someone to pirate it. Now, this is sort of understandable, because this person didn't see Game of Thrones when it was first on television, and it was months before the DVD release. HBO would have made them pay money to subscribe on a website to go see it, and then, by the time this person wanted to go see it on HBO, HBO had taken the streaming aspect down from its website. HBO had also taken it down from Hulu, which is a paid service. So, someone who wanted to watch Game of Thrones but couldn't watch it on Comcast or HBO's website or on their affiliate Hulu had literally no option but to wait months for a very, very expensive DVD release. So, this person pirated it. We have all done that at some point or another. We've all wanted an album or wanted to see a TV show or wanted to see a movie and had no way to find it legally. So, because we really wanted it, we pirated it. This is, in a lot of ways, understandable, but it's also, in a lot of ways, unacceptable. What people need to learn is that they're not entitled to entertainment. They're not entitled to get things for free. They're entitled to pay. How do we fix this? We change our attitude. We realize that if we can't afford the thing that we want immediately as it comes out, or even before, we have to wait until we can afford to pay for the thing. Now, most people who are mature adults would sort of claim to say that they realize that. And hopefully they do. And hopefully those statistics that came out in March of last year saying that online piracy is on the decline are true. However, there are still a great many people who think that they are entirely entitled to get the things that they want for free. Consider late last year when Netflix introduced a price hike of about $1 to $4, depending on your service. The outrage was completely disproportionate to the price hike that took place. People assumed that paying for entertainment meant paying an arm and a leg for something that someone that they didn't know created. So why should they care about paying for it when they can get it for free? Of course, Netflix bounced back, and people still use the service. But the outrage says something about the way we view entertainment. It says that we think we are entitled to it, 100%. It also says that we think that we shouldn't have to pay any amount of money for it because it's ours. That's simply not true. And the quicker we realize that, the quicker we can stop bills like SOPA and PIPA from even entering the national consciousness.